Good evening. Thank you for joining us for our regular session here on August 23rd. We're going to start with the invocation given by Councilmember Brucci, followed by the pledge to the flag. So if you could please stand.
Heavenly Father, guide us with your love, kindness, and understanding as we work to make Hagerstown a better place for our citizens. Help us make sound, responsible decisions that enrich all of our lives as we continue to make Hagerstown the premier city to work, live, and raise the future generations. We thank you for welcoming home those who we've lost recently and keep them close to your heart as they now reside with you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to be following the rules of procedure effective December 15th, 2020. Please make sure your cell phones are muted. All correspondence for distribution to elected officials should be provided to the city clerk and should include a copy for the city clerk. Our meeting schedule for September will be as follows. September 6th, we have no meeting. September 13th and 20th, we'll have a work session at 4 p.m. September 27th, we'll have a regular session at 7 p.m. We do have 2 appointments today, so if I could get a motion for the City Ethics Commission.
Second.
I think you have to say the name of the person in the contract.
You want me to?
Appointment, City Ethics Commission, Matthew Schindler, did I say that right? Schindler, term to expire September 1st, 2027. Hagerstown Housing Authority, Rosalind Martin, term to expire August 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have citizen comments. We have a number of people signed up to speak today. I think we do have one email comment as well.
We received an email comment for citizen comments earlier today from Lauren Peppercorn, and she is concerned about the trash and recycling cans on sidewalks in the East Avenue and Locust Street neighborhood. She said that the cans on the sidewalk block passage, and she has been reporting that to the city for many years and would like to know where that stands. That email will be posted in its entirety tomorrow morning on the city's website with the meeting material.
Thank you. Up first, we have Dave Williams. If you could come forward, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Dave Williams, P.O. Box 512, Smithsburg, Maryland. Mayor Keller, council members, thanks for this opportunity to come before you tonight just to formally introduce myself to you and to the citizens of Hagerstown. My name is Dave Williams, and I'm one of 2 Democratic candidates for Washington County Commissioner. I lived in Washington County for 45 years, and I've lived in Smithsburg for the last 34 years. I'm a retired educator from Washington County Public Schools. I was a library media specialist at 5 schools over my 40-year career, 23 of those years in city schools. My longest tenure was 19 years at South High. I had 2 years at Barbara Ingram, and my final 2 years of my career were at North High. My wife, Melissa, is also a retired WCPS educator. She's now an elected member of the Board of Education. She's currently in the middle of her 3rd term, and she's serving as president of the board. She is not up for re-election this cycle. When I decided to run for commissioner, I wanted to come up with a campaign slogan that said something about me and about my vision for the county. So, as a retired librarian, I came up with this. Turn the page, begin Washington County's next chapter. Turn the page means it's time for change. Washington County's next chapter begins with offering voters a choice. One party's primary voters should not decide who represents all of us. I believe the people of Washington County are ready for a change from one party as usual government. It's been 12 long years, as some of you on the council know, since we've had a bipartisan board of commissioners. Having diversity of thought on the Board of County Commissioners brings increased accountability, checks and balances, transparency, and an opportunity for better decision making. I want to be your county commissioner to help our county face its challenges thoughtfully, honestly, proactively, and decisively. I want the Board of County Commissioners to value our public schools, support public safety, and deliver reliable public services. I want the Board of County Commissioners to collaborate with its governing partners. For example, I've attended joint meetings between the commissioners and the school board. The two groups are in the same room, but to put it nicely, there's not a lot of meaningful dialogue from the commissioners. I believe this city council has had similar experiences with your joint meetings. I want the Board of County Commissioners to think ahead, identify the major problems we'll face in the next decades, and begin now to find solutions. Don't wait for the crisis, be proactive. On the 5-member Board of County Commissioners, there should be at least one member with expertise in the area that accounts for 42% of the county budget, our public schools. As a 40-year educator, I think I can bring some expertise in this area. In addition, over the last 10 years, I've attended more Board of Education meetings than any current board member, except for one. On the 5-member Board of County Commissioners, there should be at least one member who'll look at problems from a different perspective. I'm one candidate who can be that member. I urge everyone to get out and vote in the general election. Don't let the 14,000 voters of one party have the last word on who represents all of us in county government. There are 86,000 other voters in the county who will be able to speak in November. There will be 7 names on the ballot for county commissioner, not just the 5 picked by the 14,000. If everyone gets out to vote, third parties, independents, unaffiliated, Democrats, and Republicans, we have the opportunity to turn the page and begin Washington County's next chapter. For more information about my candidacy, go to electdavew.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Elect Dave Williams. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Mr. Staub. If you could come forward, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening. Michael Stopp, 18 South Mulberry. First, I'd like to express my sympathy to you, Councilman Rucci. I know what it's like to lose a parent. Now, I'm not even going to get into the hospital, not going to get into Sheets's. That's my private war. And we're winning with the police help, the rescue help, the firemen's help, and your help probably. We're starting to see a difference. But I'm going to show you a picture. This is today, and there's gentlemen in here today that saw me out on the street picking needles. 21 needles off of Bixler Alley. I'm going to ask the direct question. Why is not someone going over there and looking at that blockage and walking back there? If you see my pictures today, I took 15 pictures. When I turned off a Locust side to go in, there were 3 people sitting right there shooting up, cooking it right off the Locust. They're shooting up back there, and let me tell you what, the drug program there off of East Antietam in the back, you need to take a serious look, because I saw them smoking crack right in the back of it. So something's not working. Now I've already wrote a letter to the governor about the needle exchange program. It's crap. 21 needles in one day. I put 5 miles on my feet today. And let me tell you, my walking shoes are new now. I wore a pair of boots out already on the walking tour. Anybody's welcome to see my walking tour pictures. But somebody, I don't know who, the police department, the hierarchy, you all need to go over there and walk on both sides of Bixler Alley. And you are not going to believe what you see. The police can't get down there in those cars. Once they get down there, they have nowhere to turn. There is everything everywhere, including feces, clothes, food containers everywhere. On the other side of the graveyard there, on the South Mulberry side, they have a little setup there. It's their shooting gallery. In those driveways, they've taken over those garages. Some of those garages belong to those drug programs. They're going in there and sleeping all night. I'm documenting it. So I'm not here to give any misinformation. I'm here to tell you facts. And somebody needs to go on Bixler Alley and see that that blockage is preventing, an ambulance can't even get down there. I was all for that, but it's not working. It's not working on Matthews Alley, I can tell you that. But we're running them out of there. We're calling the police like we're supposed to, but I'm on the hospital. I understand the police just can't go over on that parking lot and on there. I'm on that. believe me, and I wrote a thing on Facebook that woke them up. That's not your problem, but somebody needs to take a, I don't know if you've been back there, I'll ask a direct question, has anybody been down Bixler Alley? You saw it,
Multiple times.
and it's disgusting. Today was the most, and right on South Mulberry, the father and son team that I watch, they were shooting up right on, looking across at those houses on South Mulberry in front of the graveyard. I watch them. I walk through them. I'm the needle picker upper. But I'm seeing this, but really, the barrier is caused a very big, the weeds are this high. They're sitting in chairs back there. I watched a girl shoot up, put the needle in her bra. So that's what I'm at now. We're seeing improvement on our side, but we're on it. The people on South Cannon, they're watching that street. But Sheets is next on my list. But I really ask you to take a serious look. I'm glad you went there. But if you go there today or tomorrow, you're never going to believe what you're going to see over there. I have saw it all. So I hope you listen to me, because I'm not here to criticize you. I'm here to tell you that it's moving this way now, and I'm going to tell you what happened. Where Mount Hope is today, right across in Circuit Court, I picked up a needle off the street and took it and put it in the container. I have a container right now with over 150 needles to take to the health department. But they've moved to Bixler Alley. So those people, there's houses on Locust, whoever spoke about those, they are a mess on Locust where the condemned sign. If you walk in the pathway, I go back there, you never believe what you're going to see. You never believe it. So I'm here to tell you that that's where a big major problem. And look, I'm going to get a seat at the stadium. But I'm telling you, do you want the people going to the stadium to see that shit? And pardon my friend, that's what it is. When they shoot up in front of me and say, here, we'll put the needles in a cup for you, something's wrong. And I'm doing everything I can to try to get them help, but you've got to have help. You have to have help for yourself. So
Thank you.
take a look at it.
Thanks,
you.
Michael.
Up next, we have Christian Wright. If you come up, state your name and address, please. You have 5 minutes.
My name's Christian Wright. I actually own a business at 100 West Antietam Street. And I want to first clear the air. My statements the other day to each of you, our state representatives and the press, were not meant in any way to be political. They were not meant to endorse or not endorse one politician over another or any candidates entering our local politics. I apologize for using the word fatuous, as I realize a lot of people are doing a lot of good work in our city. My comments were made out of pure frustration over a non-political, non-partisan issue, over a basic need, and that is public safety. Specifically, public safety from the vagrants and druggies who do not want to kick their addictions. These people are polluting our streets with needles, urine, feces, saliva, and personal trash. They argue, fight, scream, perform open-air sex acts, and prevent businesses like mine from operating freely. We are the oldest downtown business. We have been a law-abiding, tax-paying employer in downtown Hagerstown since 1914. Mayor, do you have people outside your business screaming at your employees? Councilman Alshire, do you have people outside the Myersville Town Hall screaming obscenities at you and your employees as you enter your place of employment? Of course not. So why should we? Unfortunately, we can't save everyone from addiction and homelessness because not everyone wants to be saved. Personally, I am in favor of helping those who want help. As many of you know, I am an active participant in giving people second chances. I've volunteered a portion of my time to Goodwill, Community Action Council, and other organizations, and applaud their initiatives and those of others, including yourselves, working to improve our community. As one of you recently told me, for every one visible issue, there are 10 successes. The problem is that one visible issue is destroying our way of life, and I am pleading with you tonight to do something about it. Over the past few days, I have received dozens of emails, calls, and texts from citizens and business owners in downtown sharing with me their horror stories of being jumped by vagrants and panhandlers, Druggies passed out on city benches in front of businesses and private residences, public urination, defecation, needles, on and on. Residents and businesses will leave downtown if they feel unsafe and ignored. That is a fact. In fact, several businesses have left downtown, and I believe more are on their way. They are willing to relocate to other areas of our communities that charge higher rent simply because they cannot take the chance of risking their employees and their customer safety. Enough is enough. Your idea of creating a 24-hour crisis center, while well-intentioned, is not going to fix this problem. It may provide some temporary shelter, but as we all know, not all addicts seek nor want help. If someone truly wants to kick their addiction, the main response is to help. But their success or failure depends on the individual, their desire to live addiction-free. Most addicts need to hit rock bottom before they seek help, so maybe we can help them by arresting them and putting them in jail. If nothing else, they will at least be off our streets for a while, which might actually save their life. So what can you do? Please begin by not pointing fingers at other politicians. Again, this is a nonpartisan issue. Our city sits within our county, so our county should have a vested interest in the health and welfare of our city. Work with our state legislatures. Support them by going to Annapolis and demand that they change the citation for minor amounts of illicit drugs and drug paraphernalia. Give our police the moral and financial support to enforce our laws and ordinances with impunity. As you know, Home Rule gives you the ability to write and enforce local laws and ordinances that do not violate our Maryland Constitution. The Dillon Rule states that you can exercise these powers, crucial to the existence of local government, and I submit to you that our local government is indeed at threat. When looking at our city code, I find several instances in which it appears you can take a stand, and in fact you have in times past. Section 25 outlines the drug-free school zones. Secondary school is schooling after a primary school and before higher or optional education. So by definition, middle school and high school can be considered secondary school. Enforce a drug-free school zone around the Barber Ingram School. The radius of enforcement is 1,000 feet from the school, which is just over 3 football fields, which puts our little slice of heaven well within the drug-free zone. Then enforce it. Give the police the authority to arrest offenders and apply the harsher penalties. The person can get out on early behavior, but at least there will be swift consequences, and for the time being, they will be off our streets. Section 46 addresses adult businesses within our city. In fact, our code states that its purpose, quote, is to protect the health, welfare, safety, morals, and general welfare of the citizens of the city, to prevent the impairment of or detriment to neighboring properties, to promote safe, sanitary conditions and combat the spread of sexually transmitted disease, and to protect children who may be attracted to such establishments. Aren't the heroin needles, pills, urination, and defecation unsanitary and unsafe for our residents and children?
Mr. Wright, the 5 minutes is up, so if you could wrap it up, please. Thank you.
Please go ahead and address these issues before businesses leave. I don't want to leave downtown Hagerstown, but I have to protect the safety of my employees. I have to protect my customers. I cannot work behind a locked door. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Mr. Barry Martin. I believe it's Martin. If you could come up and state your name and address, please. Thank you. Up next, we have Mr. Bill Proctor. If you could come up, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
As you said, my name's Bill Proctor. I live outside the city limits. I own a business inside the city limits. And I appreciate what Christian just went through. I don't agree with all of it, but it's a start. I think we need to get together and work together, not be on opposite sides. I don't mean to turn my back to you and address him, but I think he's a focal point of why this is being discussed. His business is being compromised. His right to earn a living through that business is being compromised, but I don't agree with his remedies. I agree with what you're trying to do and I applaud you for that. In response to lock them up, throw the key away, that's not an answer. We have far too many people with addictions behind bars serving out sentences that there's got to be a better way. So I suggest we form a committee. I'll volunteer to be part of it. Christian offered half of an olive branch tonight. I'd like to offer the other half. Let's find a way to fix this. It's not about women. It's not about white and black, men or women, white and black. It's not about D's and R's. It's about us in the community finding a way to do better. We can do better, and we will.
Thank you. There was no one else signed up to speak tonight. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? If so, please come say your name and address, and you have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Name and address.
And then 5 minutes.
Sorry, you guys know how these work for me.
Sorry.
So I am Brooke Grossman. I live at 52 East Baltimore Street. So I share your concerns about Bickler's Alley. I share your concerns about the sheds there. I was just having a conversation about that as we were walking in. But as one of the people who also literally, and you guys know this, so I want to talk to you guys a little bit, literally gets the call about your business and responds, literally gets the call about your alley and coordinates the work and responds, the person that spent 6 hours last Thursday night making sure that we could have a calm and coordinated response Friday morning that would result in positive outcomes for everybody. What I'd really like, much to what Mr. Proctor said, is to encourage anybody that's in this room that really wants to be part of this solution, business owners, homeowners. I'll walk the alley with you. I just can't do it till Saturday, but I'm happy to do that, to contact me. I'm also the head of the Homeless Coalition. We'd love to have more businesses be part of that conversation and understand the work that we're trying to do in this community. And I'll say back to you guys that I'm here and ready to be part of solutions. I don't want to point fingers. There's enough blame for the situations that we're in this city to go around to every resident here, and that's not what it's time for. So wanted to point out to anybody back here that wants to talk to me after this meeting, I'm happy to connect to you as a business owner, but for you guys to know that I'm here to support you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak today? If you could just state your name and address, you have 5 minutes, please.
Al Jones, I live in Williamsport, and I'm the Director of Operations for the Roy Rogers Restaurants in Washington County. I have 2 in Hagerstown, 1 at the Valley Mall, 1 at Burhan's, and I'm here to support Christian and the other business owners that are here with the frustrations that they've been having. My pot boiled over last summer with the police issues that we've had at that restaurant. My 2 concerns are decreased safety for my guests and associates, reduced sales and transactions and profitability for my restaurant. I opened the Burhan's restaurant in 1987, 35 years ago, so I've seen every version of Burhan's Boulevard over those decades, and unfortunately, we're taking a turn for the worse right now, and I think with everyone's help here, we probably can improve that. I would like to applaud and appreciate the Hagerstown Police Department. I rode up with a couple of police officers on the elevator this evening. Without their help, we would not have had the success we've had at that restaurant. So. My frustration comes with what seems to be tied to the Good Samaritan laws that are in place. It just doesn't allow the police to hold people accountable. I hope there's some opportunity to change that down in Annapolis, but it does, like Christian's frustrations with what happens to people who break the law. There isn't much penalty for doing that. Captain Langston worked with me. He also expressed these kind of concerns. Something else that hasn't come up recently is the practice for our local prisons to release prisoners in Washington County in downtown Hagerstown. Captain Langston told me that he's worked with Senator Schenck and Senator Serafini and now Senator Quarterman in trying to change that practice, but with no success. I don't know why we're putting up with that. And I think just introducing seasoned criminals to the issues we have in downtown Hagerstown right now just only adds to the problem. Last summer, we had many police issues at that Burhan's location. One Monday morning, I drove by and I observed in broad daylight 2 individuals throwing up, 1 person defecating behind my restaurant. In September of 2021, we had a knife fight on a beautiful Sunday morning that started into my restaurant, went out to the street, back in my restaurant, back out into the parking lot. It went over for an hour before it was resolved. In October of 2021, I had a drug overdose in my bathroom. We put locks on our bathrooms 2 years ago. That's helped. It's a great inconvenience to our guests and my associates, but it has helped some of the problems. This individual paid for food at Roy Rogers, had a great meal, I hope, and then chose to use drugs in my bathroom and overdosed. He could not be prosecuted, and I was very frustrated with that. As a result of the knife fight, I lost one manager. Everyone knows how hard it is to recruit and hire people in this environment. For me to replace that manager, it cost me $10,000. I have a $5,000 signing bonus. I have fees for Indeed to recruit managers, and then training, $10,000 like that because of one knife fight that would happen in my restaurant. I can't continue to put up with situations like that. In November of 2021, I asked the city and the police, all of our elected officials, to join me at a meeting in Roy Rogers. We came up with some action steps to prevent the issues we've been experiencing. Mike Byers is my landlord and operates Byers Market on the opposite end of the plaza. We put a fence in between the restaurant and shopping center as a deterrent between the two units. That seems to have helped. I added additional cameras to my security system. We created a unified no trespass letter, which is a little bit ceremonial because a lot of these people that we issue these to don't have a fixed address. This summer, the issues have decreased at Burhans Boulevard. I'm real pleased to announce. I hope it's a result of all those actions that we took in the meeting we had in November. The issues that have increased in Cannon Avenue have me concerned. Selfishly, I don't want them moving back up to Burhans. So I'm hoping that together, I'm happy to be part of any kind of community meeting to solve these issues. I don't know what the answer is, but our patience at that location with my company is running thin. And we're on a 1-year lease now at that location, and we'd like to sign a 20-year lease. But unless these problems can resolve, I don't know how much longer we're going to sustain that restaurant. And that would be a shame after 35 years. So appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? You can state your name and address, please. You have 5 minutes.
Happy
Bill
birthday.
Gertner with Gatekeepers Organization, a reentry program for ex-offenders and recovering addicts. And I spend 24/7 downtown. I eat at Roy Rogers every morning, and it's a great restaurant, and it's the cleanest restaurant in town. Thank you. And I meet a lot of people there. We have meetings there, and we're not afraid. My office is downtown, and we spend many, many days, many nights working with ex-offenders, with people right from the Mission, with people right from the Reach whenever it's open, and from Goodwill that has become a multifaceted organization in our area. We're like, you know, we have a contained area. And I'm here to say that we appreciate it. Gatekeepers has no full-time employees. Attorney Ed Hagan is here. Jennifer Collier is with us tonight. And we're here just to say, we heard a lot of gossip going on, and the police were in trouble. They were arguing with everyone, and Christian had a rough day, and it's ridiculous. Everyone has a rough day, and we have a lot of those problems. I was locked up for 8.5 years for many of the people who's walking the streets, and there's no reason they're walking the streets. We have enough nonprofits in this town who make a hell of a lot of money, and they close at 4 o'clock. Why? Homelessness and poverty does not take a weekend off. We have our phone rings 24/7, and just to plant that seed, this year we spent $50,000 in basic needs. Someone said basic needs earlier. That's what this is all about. I work inside the prisons. I go to RCI. Secretary Green has put gatekeepers. We're going on tablets. Our Business of Living program is going to be on tablets inside the prisons. We're in 249 prisons across the country. Our Business of Living program in tablets. We're getting letters from all over. We have an idea of how to do this, and we can just take, if we can segment the various organizations that are here: church, state, education, and commerce. Education is here. When's the last time? We need education. Everyone has to be involved in this city to combat this. Where are the churches? I was in Baltimore when Martin Luther King was killed, I was working downtown Baltimore as a theology student, and that place was burning. The only thing in Baltimore were tanks, Army people, and it was just like something it would never be. And as a theology student, I was asked to come down and try to help and hand out food. And that went on for, what, 5 or 6 days? And some of you guys might be old enough to remember. So I remember being out in that street, and what I saw was, it was just, Freddie Gray brought it back, incidentally. But what healed it was they got together after about 6 days, and they took the ministers and the priests of downtown Baltimore with their cleric garb on and went hand in hand and walked down Pennsylvania Avenue. The flames went out. But was it 40 years later? Freddie Gray happens, Baltimore starts burning again. And after about 4 days, they went into the attic and brought out those clerics, and they walked down the street, flames went out. We don't have that here. We don't have a group of people working together. We're ex-offenders, and we spend a lot of time going over what exactly it is. And if you want to see it, come to every Saturday morning at Trinity Lutheran Church. We have a citizens meeting, returning citizens group. This past Friday, we had a couple of people running for office were there. We got judges there. And guess what? Our big funders, and they come up every day, are from Bethesda, and they're from D.C., and there's not too many churches from here. We're having it in a church just for that purpose. We need the clergy behind this. We got to just gather everyone, because nothing ever changes. So what can change? It's things we haven't done. And I've worked very closely with some of the people who talked tonight, and that's the reason I came. I knew they were coming, and I just was here to back them up. And for example, let me just say one thing. We spent $50,000 last year. We took care of, we spent $38,000 on housing. We took care of 20 people, taking care of this housing. Our budget is not even $100,000. We provided food, $2,000 for food for our resource club. We spend more money on bus passes, ask the county, than any organization in town. We give bus passes away, but guess what? You know, that's hope. A bus pass is a hope for the homeless. They come around, they knock on our door. We need a bus pass, we need a bus pass.
Mr. Gardner, I'm sorry, you're 5 minutes up. Can you wrap it up, please?
Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You state your name and address, please, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Sean Perry, I live on Wayne Avenue, Hagerstown, Maryland. I applaud you guys, what you have been doing the last couple of weeks. You all involve your stakeholders, your business owners, citizens, I couldn't say that, but police officers, your medical personnel, that's what it takes. The drug epidemic we have here is a community problem. It's not going to be solved by the police officers, the mayor, the council. It's going to be solved by all of us. How do I know this? I spent 20 years as a police officer in Frederick, Maryland. We involved our stakeholders, everyone, for their community problems. That's how we solve them. They're not going to go away. We can't just lock people up. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Just can't lock them up. Police officers will tell you, people have to have a reason to lock them up, arrest them. And then what happens? When they get arrested, police officers are going to spend 3-4 hours in central booking if they don't have to take them to the hospital. That's another officer off the street. And then when they get out, or when they go to the central booking, then they'll probably get released, and they're going to be back on the street. So how do we solve this? Collectively, we have to solve this. We can't finger point. We have to work together. I offer my experience, my time, to any one of you. I will walk any alley you want me to walk. I'm not afraid. I will talk to anyone you need me to talk to. I have friends and people who have worked on situations like this, and I will connect them to the administration. Just ask for my help, and I will, in fact, you're not asking for my help. I'm offering my help right now, and I'm at your beck and call. I'm here to help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? All right, that concludes our citizen comment section. Thank you, everyone who participated. Can I have an approval of the minutes, please?
Madam Mayor, hereby move for the approval of minutes as presented for the mayor and council meetings held on July 12th, July 19th, and July 26th, all 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, hereby move that all of the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an ordinance to amend chapters 238 and 240 of City Code.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for the approval of ordinance to amend Chapter 238 and Chapter 240 of City Code to establish guidelines for transferring water and wastewater allocation. The amendments also establish a benefit fee rate differential for water allocation for properties outside city corporate boundaries. The amendments are detailed in the body of the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of resolution, annexation case number A-2022-02, lands of GVP Hagerstown owner LLC.
Madam Mayor, I move for the mayor and city council introduce an annexation resolution for annexation case number A-2022-02, known as lands of GVP Hagerstown owner LLC. The portion of property to be annexed is approximately 21.44 acres in size and is intended to be added to and made part of the adjacent municipal lands.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of annexation plan, case number A-2022-02, lands of GVP Hagerstown owner LLC.
Madam Mayor, hereby move the mayor and city council approve an annexation plan for annexation case number A-2022-02, known as lands of GVP Hagerstown owner LLC. The portion of property to be annexed is approximately 21.44 acres in size and is intended to be added to and made part of the adjacent municipal lands.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the sanitary sewer easement.
Madam Mayor, I move for the approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to a sanitary sewer easement between the City of Hagerstown and GVP Hagerstown owner LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, for the purpose of abandoning a certain sanitary easement and ingress-egress easement and certain sewer lines, connections, fittings, manholes, and other related appurtenances over a portion of GVP's property situated on the east side of Western Maryland Parkway, Hagerstown, Maryland, as further described in the attached resolution and amendment to sanitary sewer easement.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution to support a joint application by the City of Hagerstown and Washington County for redesignation of an enterprise zone in the City of Hagerstown, Maryland.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council approval of a resolution authorizing the joint application with the Board of Washington County Commissioners to redesignate and expand the Hagerstown, Washington County Enterprise Zone for a period of 10 years from December 14, 2022 to December 14, 2032. The Enterprise Zone provides property tax credits for construction and rehabilitation investments and provides income tax credit for job creation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution converting alley 4-019 to one-way westbound.
Madam
Ma-
Mayor.
Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, hereby move to approve a resolution to convert alley 4-019 to one-way westbound between North Mulberry Street and North Locust Street. This change is supported by adjacent property owners and recommended by the Board of Traffic and Parking.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval to accept grant from the Chesapeake Bay Trust.
Madam Mayor, hereby move to authorize the city to accept an urban tree grant from the Chesapeake Bay Trust in the amount of $66,619. This grant will be used to plant street trees and trees in other open space areas.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a motion authorizing the issuance of a notice of termination to Synagro WWT, Inc. of the city's intention not to renew or extend the contract to operate the city's pelletizer facility. The issuance of notice of termination is pursuant to Section 2 of the extensive agreement for operations and maintenance, service, and capital improvements dated September 24, 13.
Madam Mayor, move for the approval of a motion authorizing the issuance of a notice of termination to Synagro WWT, Inc. of the city's intention not to renew or extend the contract to operate the city's pelletizer facility. The issuance of the notice of termination is pursuant to Section 2 of the extension agreement for operations and maintenance service and capital improvements dated September 24, 2013. This notice of termination is being issued to ensure compliance with local and state procurement requirements and to best serve the citizenry of Hagerstown. The city will issue a request for proposals for operation of the pelletizer facility.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval to add 216 South Prospect Street to the city's competitive negotiated sale process.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve the addition of 216 South Prospect Street to the city's competitive negotiated sale CNS process with the goal of transferring the property to the private sector and returning the property to the tax rolls. Purchase proposals will be evaluated based on both offer price and how the future use of the property will contribute to the vitality of the neighborhood.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of Hagerstown Homeownership Initiative Grant Guideline changes.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve the attached and revised guidelines and application forms for the Hagerstown Homeownership Initiative Grant Program. Staff may make administrative edits from time to time with approval of the city administrator.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of Hyatt Extended LLC and Bowman Development Corp. Request for water under the city's water and wastewater policy.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve the request from the Washington County Board of Commissioners for Hewitt Extended LCC and Bowman Development Corporation for water service to parcel 132 on tax map 36, located on the west side of Maryland Route 63, just south of intersection with Maryland Route 40, for proposed single industrial flex warehouse and office building. Approved water service is for 2,200 GPD or 11 EDUs. Usage and shall be in accordance with all applicable utilities department policies and city code as may be amended from time to time. The property is approximately 57.5 acres, is identified on the attached map, and any additional construction on the parcel will require separate approval. The parcel is half within the medium range growth area, the MRGA, and half identified as Economic Development Priority Area E for the future inclusion in the MRGA. Submittal of the pre-annexation agreement to the city of Hagerstown is required prior to the approval by the Utilities Department of the request for water service on the site plan per the requirements of the city's annexation policy and water and wastewater policy. An exemption granted pursuant to the city's water and wastewater policy is void if the following has not occurred within 18 months of the approval by the mayor and the city council. 1, a site plan approval by Washington County. 2, building permit filed with Washington County. And 3, all city water fees paid. Any request for a variance or extension of the 18-month timeline limit must be submitted for consideration to the mayor and city council at least 60 days prior to the expiration date and must be approved by mayor and city council.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of American Rescue Plan Act, state and local fiscal recovery funds, policies, and procedures.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for mayor and council approval of the ARPA policies and procedures as outlined in the attached document.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of revision to Maryland Bay Restoration Fund exemption program due to substantial financial hardship.
Madam Mayor, I move the mayor and council to authorize the following in conjunction with the city's Maryland Bay Restoration Fund exemption program due to substantial financial hardship. 1, maintain the financial hardship program for city residents as outlined by the state of Maryland guidelines. 2, remove the April 25th, 2006 approval related to partnership and program oversight with Washington County Community Action Council as requested by the agency.
Second.
Second by Bob. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval to accept the Maryland Criminal Intelligence Network grant.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for the mayor and council approval to accept the Maryland Criminal Intelligence Network grant, which is 100% grant funded and totals $275,418. The goal of this grant is to focus on high priority offenders within our community with an emphasis on criminal networks and enforcement. This non-match grant has been offered and awarded annually for the last several years.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. City Administrator?
It's been a long day, Mayor. Just want to, first of all, offer condolences on behalf of the city to Councilman Brucci in the passing of his mom. I know how much she meant to you, and just very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Just want to send our condolences on behalf of the city to the family, John Christ, our Deputy Fire Marshal. The man was larger than life, and he intimidated the hell out of me when I first started here. But the more I got to know him, the more I knew he had a heart of gold. And I just want to send out condolences to his family, the Hagerstown Fire Department, the brother and sisterhood that he shared within that department. To those of you, his friends, and he's going to be sorely missed. And that's it for me, Mayor.
Kristen.
First, I'd like to echo Scott's comments. But I know there were a number of folks that came this evening to speak to the obvious issues that we have in this city associated with individuals that have a deleting impact on the community at times. And I know there's tons of folks out there doing all kinds of different things to attempt to address that, and there's all kinds of opinions. And, you know, I don't like to engage folks during public comment period. I feel like that's their time to come up and speak their position or points on a matter, and so I don't think that it's healthy for the elected body to engage individuals that are simply expressing themselves during the public comment time that we provide to do that. But, you know, I wrote a response during the process of our deliberations on the specific matter that Mr. Wright brought forth. And at that time, by the suggestion of some folks, you know, didn't provide that response. I don't know that was healthy, but I did say at our meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I think the point still stands, if we don't have something in this community, regardless of who steps forward in whatever manner that is to provide it, this city seems to be the place that it ends up being anyway. That isn't going to change unless we first recognize that, and so I'm just going to read that. So the response that I had intended to say was, you know, as indicated in my initial email, the state's directive haven't provided local communities adequate time to adjust its operations to manage these changes, let alone the necessary resources to implement measures to absorb the impacts those directives are presenting. And I think our police can speak to that. But holding our collective breath under the illusion that these counties, countless counties, state and independent entities may miraculously reverse course seems at this point impractical. This places the city squarely at the mercy of those that seek the role of determining the rules, but not the responsibility of its application. It ends up falling on us here and on our citizens. The fact is, the city does not fund these agencies. We do not fund the entities. The county and state, both directly and through pass-through funding, do. The city does not directly operate, have authority over, or create governing policy for these agencies or these entities. The county and the state, both directly and through those federal directives, do. The city, like all municipalities, is not The city, like all the municipalities in this county, aren't responsible for those public safety objectives. By law, the county and the state are. Those were simply the points that I was attempting to make as well, and I think that Mr. Stout pointed out very clearly, as I see our staff in the back, when he says our HPD, our HFD, and CRS are stepping forward to fill that gap. If the city were to voluntarily discontinue these municipal services, this is why you should print it out, right? But I think this is important. If the city were to voluntarily discontinue these municipal services and operate in the same manner the other municipalities in this county and other counties do, or dissolve its municipal charter tomorrow, these county and state agencies, the independent assisting entities, and all the people they serve would still be here. The only difference is the county and state would not have 40,000 residents that voluntarily provide about $1,000 per household, more than other county residents, for those municipal public safety services that appear necessary to manage the impacts of individuals that the county and state agencies and associated entities both place and serve in our community each day. And that's a basic fact. So I look to our staff in the back and say thank you for picking up that difference that doesn't exist in the rest of this county that is necessary here.
Councilmember Pritchard.
I just want to offer my condolences also to the Chris family. You're right, he was a fantastic guy and had a heart as big as Montana and would do anything for anybody. So he will be extremely missed by everybody. So my condolences once again to them.
Sorry. I would also like to echo my condolences and also to thank our public safety departments for continuing to show up for each and every call. We really appreciate that. And on another note, I want to give best wishes and prayers to students, teachers, parents, staff for this upcoming school year, and I hope it's as safe and healthy and back to normal as possible. Thank you.
I'd like to offer my condolences, Councilmember Brucey. Sorry for your loss of your mom. Also, my condolences to the family of Chris Stretch. I had the pleasure of meeting him for the first time on my ride along that I did with Officer McDermott. And we went to a scene of an accident, and the fire department was there because there was some fluids leaking from under the car. And so he explained all that stuff to me, why the fire department was there. And, you know, just we really talked and was able to find out that was our fire marshal. It was pretty interesting. So definitely my condolences. And also whenever the fire department, the Brotherhood, that went out and rode alongside of around Doey's house. I was out there that evening, and it was one of the most beautiful things that I've seen in the community is to come together and make your presence known to someone that you love and support. So thank you for that. And then also just thank you to Goodwill and also Lifehouse for our city. There was a woman emergency crisis situation, and it was during the weekend. It wasn't a whole lot of what does she do, it was just how could we help, what do we need to do, who do we need to call to make it happen, and also gatekeepers Thank you so much, Jennifer, for going out and dropping off food, not one time, but 2 times, to families out there. And then happy birthday to my friend Bill Gertner from Gatekeepers. Awesome. See how you get to spend your birthday, Bill. Thank you. And then also I would like to just say the police officers on the bikes, I love it. It is, I mean, Brooke and I walked a couple mornings ago, and just in the nooks and crannies where we were walking at, where we were sitting at, it was just awesome to see the officers come by smiling and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Thank you.
My prayers have also been with you, Councilman Burchie. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm going to attempt to tell a story, but you guys are holding it together a lot better than I am. So I apologize in advance, but I'm really going to try to get this out. So everyone that knew Stretch knew he put googly eyes on everything. Like you would walk somewhere and you'd see a picture or something with googly eyes on them, and you'd be like, oh, well, Stretch was here. And last year during the MML summer conference, I was in Ocean City, and it was a 5-year anniversary of my best friend dying. And I was really emotional and in my feelings. And I was checking into my hotel and feeling sorry for myself. And I walked out to get my luggage, and I'm looking at my trunk going, what in the hell is a shiny thing on my trunk? And I had Keller for Mayor magnets that were still on there, and the O in my mayor had my hair in it, if you guys remember that from when I ran. And on either side of my car, on either magnet, was a googly eye where my eye should have been. And in that moment, I needed that laugh because there was nothing bright going on that day. And I texted Stretch and I said, how long have I been driving around with googly eyes on my car? And he said, 9 days. I've been counting. He said, I put them on there when you were parked at your house and your dog started barking, so I thought I was caught, but it took you 9 days to find it. And I told him, I said, today's a really rough day in my life. It's a death anniversary of my best friend, and it was exactly what I needed in that exact moment. And he said, well, that's why I do it, in part to make people smile. So that's the type of person Stretch was, and he will be missed sorely. And HFD, my heart's out to you guys, and Nina, we're praying for you. And with that, we're adjourned.